Good afternoon and welcome back. I'm Marcus Peter. I was looking at the gospel readings today, and particularly the gospel reading comes from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 20, verses 1 to 16. Jesus tells a parable of the kingdom of heaven like a landowner who went out at dawn to hire laborers for his vineyard. And he agrees for usual daily wages. And that had me thinking about the reality of generosity, because if you read the narrative, there are those who've been laboring for the Lord, or in this case, laboring within the vineyard, with a reluctance to give that which to give up that which they've been given in terms of a privilege. And joining me to have a conversation, particularly about sacrifice for the sake of those who are lesser fortunate, is Jennifer Hartley. Jennifer Hartley runs Mary's Meals, a global movement supported by people of many walks of life and different backgrounds to enable people to offer money, good skill, time, or prayer to help those suffering the effects of extreme poverty in the world's poorest communities. Jennifer, thank you for joining us. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you. Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure to be on your show. What an amazing show you've had already today, too.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I want to begin by just giving you the space to share about Mary's Meals, and just imagine that our listeners don't know about it. Just share with them the amazing work that's being done by Mary's Meals.
Thank you. Thank you for that opportunity. So Mary's Meals, we were founded in 2002 by Magnus McFarland Barrow, and he was actually a salmon fisherman and was doing good in the world all around, and there was a huge hunger crisis in Malawi, and he met this young boy named Edward, who his father had passed, and his mother was also on the floor passing away. And Magnus had this beautiful opportunity to ask Edward, who was the son, who's 14, what would be next in his life. And he said, my goodness, if I could have a meal and an education, then I could take care of my siblings. That's all he wanted at 14, was just a meal and an education. And Magnus stopped in his tracks, and he thought, my goodness, Blessed Mother must be talking to me right now. And he took that challenge and that gift that he was given, and we started feeding 200 children in 2002. And today we feed over 3 million in 16 of the poorest countries around the world. The most beautiful thing about this mission is how simple it is, because every child that gets a meal has to go to school to get that meal. So we're trying to change their trajectory in life and give them hope and dignity and just bring brightness into it. And I can just tell you, I got to see it firsthand most recently. About 3 weeks ago, I was in Malawi, and that happens to be one of the countries that we have the feeding program in. We feed over 1.3 million children in Malawi. And if you don't know this, Malawi happens to be, I think it's the 6th poorest country in the world. Mm-hmm. And I went to 7 different schools and met so many wonderful children. And that cup of porridge that they get is life-changing for them, because they want to go to school because they know they're going to get a meal. And the whole program is run on volunteerism. So the cooks and the parents, the grandparents, the aunts, the uncles, they volunteer to help serve the children because they know their children are going to get fed, and that might be the only meal they get. $25.20 will feed a child from the United States for an entire school year because of the volunteerism. It's just an amazing mission. And Mary's Meals is, we know we've been in the United States for over 14 years, but not many people know about us. And we're really trying to drive a movement across the United States, leaning into our faith and leaning in. God has really put us in a beautiful position to share his gifts in life, and he's leaning on us to make a difference.
Can you share with us, so everyone who's listening right now is undoubtedly moved by what you do, and why specifically Malawi? And then clearly you do work in other countries as well, so share with us about that. But secondly, how can people get involved? Everything is done by means of volunteering. So how can people get involved?
Right. So we are in 16 of the poorest countries. So just to help you with that, Malawi happens to be one of the largest feeding programs we have. But to get involved with Mary's Meals, it's very simple. All you have to do is go on marysmeals.org, and we have all kinds of information on our website, from volunteering to supporting as a supporter, a donor, if you will. The 2520 feeds a child for an entire year, but we have this new program that we're introducing, and it's called Feed a School. And I love this program because it is so closely aligned, and where I lean into it is children feeding children. So schools, parishes, individuals, groups of friends can go in and they can decide they want to sponsor a school and how many of the children are in that school. We have them all on our website, and they can make that personal decision. When you sponsor school, you're really connected to it. You're totally tied. You get the school report. You get pictures of the children. You understand what the population of that school is, what their grade point average is, how they're moving through the organization for that school. I happen to have a school in Zambia, and I'm trying to get one in Malawi. This one that just touched my heart. I left my heart in Malawi, and I just, it really means a lot. But the school program, if you think about Habitat for Humanity, you can go build a home for someone. Well, you can feed anywhere from 170 children to how many? I visited some schools that had over 4,800 students in a primary school. That's how desperate they are. So you can, marysmeals.org will take you right there, and you can find everything about it. We do local volunteerism around, we're the fundraising arm for Mary's Meals. So we do have 16 affiliate countries, but we feed Mary's Meals in the UK to help them with all the feeding programs, because they do the operation side of it. We're the funding side of it.
So for everyone listening right now, what are ways in which from here in the United States they can get involved?
So you can get involved with doing so you can join, we would love to have you join as a volunteer or an ambassador, and we would work with you around the different, depending upon the state that you're in, we would be reaching out to you. We have all kinds of conferences, we have training programs. They can personally set up their own volunteer fundraising page. They could be a part of any of the events that we do. They could personally donate if they felt like, gosh, I don't have the time to volunteer, but I'd like to donate. They can donate personally from that. They can bring their friends and family, do walks, runs. We just did a 5K run. We have a 5K run happening in Ohio in November. We've got a concert in Ohio that is happening in September 19th. We also have a conference in Iowa that it's happening at the end, I think it's September 25th. So we've got quite a few things. You can find those on our website as well. And we would be happy to reach out to you. Anybody that wants to get involved will personally contact you. We are a smaller organization that is driving a movement across the United States.
Well, thank you so much for making the time to share with us, Jennifer.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having us on and sharing in the wisdom of God's work. So thank you so much. Have a blessed evening.
You too. God bless you. I've been talking with Jennifer Hartley. Jennifer is the executive director of Mary's Meals, and as she's been mentioning, this is a global movement supported by people from across the world, different backgrounds, and they are right now serving in 16 of the poorest nations of the planet. These are made up of people who are completely volunteers, offering money, goods, skills, time, prayer, and between feeding programs and also resource programs and also ways in which children can receive more safety, especially in tenuous government circumstances. So find out more, marysmeals.org, and find out how you can get involved. Stay tuned. I'm Marcus Peter.